Now, we got to a really important part around minute 23, and I want to make sure that you guys all see this. So I'm going to put it at the very beginning, and then we're going to get into this video. Watch this.
Trump is nothing if not audacious. He manifests this way.
Yeah, but what does he produce, though? I mean, he doesn't, even if he sees tariffs as a success, it's not going to be, but he even had to pull back from that. It's like,
oh my God. Okay. Oh, tariffs aren't going to be a success. I get it that these people don't understand what's actually happening for whatever reason. They live in like outer space and don't understand what he's actually doing. Do you really think that Trump is doing the tariffs to try to boost the tax base? Like he's saying, oh, we're going to make so much money for the United States. You really think that's what he's doing? Okay. He's negotiating. Obviously, that is exactly why he says we're going to do the tariffs on Canada. We're going to do the tariffs on Mexico. And then right at the last minute, oh, okay, hang on. We're going to put a 30-day pause on it. Because why? Because he's making a threat, knowing that it puts them in a position that they cannot have that happen. Their economy will collapse. He's putting a leverage position against them so that they can negotiate things like the border. That's exactly what he's doing. Okay, the tariffs are not about tariffs. The tariffs are about the border. In this case, when he's talking about Mexico and Canada, he wants them to secure the border. Okay, so he's like, oh, you're not going to secure the border? All right, cool. I'll just tax the imports. And then how are you guys going to do then? What's going to happen then? You know, we'll just slap these tariffs on you guys. Are you guys going to be all right? He's negotiating because he wants to get the borders closed and he knows we can't do it without their help. That's why he's doing tariffs. Okay, what does he produce? The tariffs. That's why he's doing it. All right, so we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, but I wanted to start off by showing you this really quick. Okay, so Sweden has opened the door to deploying troops in Ukraine, and they said they're willing to deploy a peacekeeping force in Ukraine to guarantee a peace deal. Here is my take on that, okay? And this is what's really important for everyone to notate who is into global geopolitical politics and warfare, etc. This should be made mandatory. Every single special forces person, no matter what country that they're from, no matter what, should always be mandated to hold a battle axe in every single photograph, because to me, they could be holding whatever weaponry they want and they'll never look more gangster than they do holding a two-sided battle axe with their face painted like that. That's just bottom line. Take it as a friendly suggestion. But in much more important news and the actual topic of this particular video, we are going to talk about Jon Stewart, who, unless I am reading the room wrong, seems to be finding a lot of alignment with what is going on the side of the Trump supporters and the MAGA movement and the DOGE expose of government wasteful corruption. It's unbelievable. The difference in how people are viewing what is going on in government. It's actually unreal, to the point where I feel like we are given this opportunity to now see who's real and who's not. You know, like who is like either intentional misinformation or who is being brainwashed by, you know, the like mainstream media. Because there is no person who is rational, has any kind of like logical viewpoint of what's going on at Doge that's going to think to themselves, oh my God, he needs to be stopped. You're all, why? We literally are finding out right now that the trillions of dollars we spend every year, that there's like no oversight and no one has done an audit on the federal government like ever. What? You're acting like this is not your money. And we've already uncovered how much wasteful, fraudulent corruption in like the first week. Like how the people who are filing injunctions and who are complaining about all of this stuff, it's like, this is insane. Because like to us, the people who kind of see it for what it is, we're like, keep going, keep going, root all of this stuff out, man. But so Jon Stewart is one of these guys who is apparently a genuine person with genuine opinions, because he has, you may remember her, you know, you may remember her from such things as a White House press secretary who would go out there and lie. Now, I will say this, though. She was great. She was absolutely great at that job. She really was. Like, she's one of those people who could just straight face lie or straight face cut people off, pretend like she didn't hear them, keep it confident, not get rattled, you know, much better than the replacement. But listen to these two talk. Listen to Jon Stewart and her talk about what's going on right now. And then we're also going to show another clip, which we actually have watched previously on the show. But after watching Jon Stewart in this particular clip and then going over and watching him in the other one where he's with the deputy secretary of the Pentagon, I think. I can't remember. It's we'll look it up again. But it's like deep state operative, smug, absolutely infuriating to watch. But watch this, dude, because Jon Stewart is officially a good guy. Real quick, though, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this video. It's Patriot, veteran owned. Check this out real quick, and then we're going to get into Jon Stewart. Now, real quick, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Sheath Underwear. Now, if you have never checked out Sheath Underwear, you need to go to that website right now and check out their stuff. Now, if you already have a pair of Sheath because you've been a longtime viewer of my channel, they have a brand new product out, the 4.0 black and white modal. I am telling you right now, you need to go check these out. Now, if you've never been there before, this is what I'm going to do for everybody, okay? I haven't done this in a few months, so here's what we're doing. If you go to sheathunderwear.com and you go shopping, look at all of the different stuff that they have. They have stuff for men. They have stuff for women. They have all kinds of different stuff that you are going to like. Anything that you buy on that website using the promo code FIRE, and then you send me the receipt to Real Jesse on Fire, you'll be entered to win a 3D wall print just like this one. Now, this is a samurai one. There are a bunch of other options. We'll go through it. If you win, we can go through the options. You can pick the one that you want. These are so sick. They're a new sponsor. I'm going to talk to you more about them later, but the bottom line is all you got to do is buy anything off of the Sheath Underwear website. Send me the receipt. You'll be entered to win, and I'm going to pick a winner at the end of the month. So check this out, sheathunderwear.com. Use the promo code FIRE. Send me the receipt, and you're entered to win. All right, let's do this thing.
Pressure. You were inside the guts of a White House.
Mm-hmm.
You saw how the sausage is made inside the White House.
Yeah. I worked at State Department. I think USAID is a tremendous institution. I don't think it should be a front and center top messaging argument. Should people in Congress defend and use every lever of their power to prevent the Trump administration from gutting it? Yes, because they play a pivotal role around the world, cracking down on corruption, defending a free press, a million things. But I guess when it comes to how the Democrats are communicating with the public.
So let me just be clear. USAID defends a free press?
Absurd. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, I mean, I assume it goes without saying that Redacted is like a mandatory subscription for anybody who is with us. And as a matter of fact, I'm just going to actually let him speak on this because I love their show. And defends a free press. Like defends, I mean, he's going to say the same thing, but like, how is it defending a free press when you're sending millions of dollars every year to all the major mainstream news outlets? That doesn't, because we've seen with the pharmaceutical companies, being a main contributor to their, to their bottom line annually definitely seems to have no effect on how they cover things since, were there anything going on during the pandemic that seemed like there was, no-nos? Like, oh, you can't talk about that? It's like, does it have anything to do with Pfizer being your number one contributor, your number one advertiser? Well, what do you mean? It's like, everything you said was wrong. Every single thing you said was wrong. Except every single wrong thing supported one specific outcome, which was mandates everyone take the shot, which was going to then lead to $50 billion in profit for them that year, which, by the way, came from the federal government because, it's free for you guys. Yeah, fucking right. It's free, huh? Oh, it's free? It's free. Yes, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. I feel like if the taxpayers paid for it, that's me paying for it. I don't know. I mean, call me crazy, but like only thing that's guaranteed is death and taxes. Like, okay, well, there's taxes and there's taxes, right? Like, I get it. We're going to have to pay taxes, but like, how much and where's it going? Because you either are going to be taxed out of your paycheck or they're going to print the money and that's a taxation through inflation. There's no government spending that's not taxation, for the record. I didn't even want the shot. Why would I want to have to pay for everyone's shots or contribute to that? Ridiculous.
How is the press free when you literally are sending money to over 7,000 journalists around the world and 200 different news organizations paid for by U.S. taxpayers? How is that free exactly? I mean, the BBC, Reuters, Politico, all of these news organizations and journalists around the world are receiving money from the United States government. How does that make them free and unfettered? It doesn't. It makes them an extension of a propaganda machine.
Speaking of which, as I just liked his video, I would appreciate if you guys would like mine and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet so that you will know when I upload. Because honestly, there's a lot of videos just like this that are only shown to my subscribers. If you're not subscribed, you won't get suggested those videos.
She just said that with a straight face.
They are believers in the separation of government.
Here's where we're getting into it. So I think other people would say that's a veneer and that what Donald Trump is doing is.
Yeah. See, this is where This is where Jon Stewart is based, like when he wants to be, because he knows. I saw him smirk there just a second ago. He's seeing through the BS of what Jen Psaki is saying. And this is sort of the brilliance here. So Jen Psaki comes on this podcast thinking, oh, I've got a really favorable friend here. I've got a fellow Democrat who's going to give me some easy conversation here about how Donald Trump is an authoritarian and Democrats, need to do better. No. Here we go.
He's actually explicitly exposing the dark heart of how the world actually works. The systems that we've set up that we're defending, that are status quo. We subsidize pharmaceutical companies. We subsidize oil companies, yet we pay the highest drug prices. Our health, like all those things have added up to this, no? The systems that we've created, were Democrats not urgent enough in the alarm bells going off about the corruption within our so-called status quo system?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's what it turns out.
Think that
that's called socialism, right? When you artificially prop up oil and gas companies, when you provide subsidies, that's another way. It's crony capitalism, and it's socialism. There's no.
That's what's crazy. That I didn't really think about that until he said it in this video, where it's like, I mean, it's kind of common sense. I'm almost like embarrassed to say that I hadn't really thought about that, but that like, okay, so we pay taxes, like socialism. Everybody understands what socialism is, right? They're like, oh, we want to socialize medicine. It's like, all right, so what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that the entire medical system is run on the tax base. Like tax base pays for the doctors. Tax base pays for everything healthcare related. So everyone has access to healthcare. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you a 100% true story about that real quick, without completely derailing this. Our friend just found out that their husband has cancer in Canada, and without getting into the weeds on this or whatever, I just want to tell you, we have never had any experience with this in terms of like someone in a socialized medicine country having something like this. It's bad, dude. Like it's bad. It's really, really bad. Okay. And I could go, I'm going to completely derail this. Bottom line, you need to have a private healthcare option if you think that you're going to be able to react to very serious health situations, because otherwise you are literally waiting in line months. Anyway, let's continue.
Other way to look at it. You can call it crony capitalism all you want, but it's socialism. And he's right. So these systems,
finishing my point, I'm sorry, is like if you start allocating all these tax dollars to these corporations, okay, that's the exact same thing, except you're allowing the corporations to profit from what is essentially a socialized system. You build a socialized system and then you allow the corporations to extract all of the profit out of it. Okay, like if people understood, if they really understood how this stuff all worked, we would have gone nuts on this a long time ago. That's why right now you have one side that is like, go, Doge. And then you have the other side that's like, what are you talking about? Everything's great, man. We've got blah, 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 blah. And they are protecting a system that they have been profiting from personally and, as a group forever. Criminally, as far as I'm concerned, because they're doing it under the guise of government, like, help, when it's really the exact opposite of that. It's like theft, Whoops, what just happened?
Government institutions have all failed the American people, and Donald Trump has rallied around that. And so rebuilding the government in Trump's, vision is exactly what they have a problem with. But it's been a failure for the American people for so long.
Part of that was not addressing and listening to the core people who should have been the base and who are the base, I think, of the Democratic Party, which is a lot of working people who are impacted by exactly those policies you just outlined. So yes, it is different things. And part of it is also, there are things that on its surface that Trump has said government is bloated. It is inefficient.
Boom.
And there are reasons why that should be addressed.
Right. So why are you fighting him on addressing it? Because everyone else has had years and years and years and years to try to address it, and they did nothing. So like, now we're actually addressing it. Do you really think that this is the kind of thing that you can kind of do with like a soft hand? Like if you really want to address the genuine, like we're going to, like we're literally, I heard that our deficit for Q1 of 2025 is something like 500 billion more than it was for Q1 2024. I mean, I'm going to look that up actually while we talk about this to get the exact number. But do you understand how catastrophic that is? That is called pyramiding debt because that's what happens. Okay. If you are a person who is like an individual, right? And you make $100,000 a year and you owe $1 million in debt. Okay. Cause that's the ratio that the United States is at basically, right? You make $100,000 a year. Okay. It's actually, yeah, I mean, so whatever. So do you think a person who makes $100,000 a year and still has to pay for all the things they do is bankrupt if they owe $1 million? Yes, of course they are. Okay. Because you have to maintain that debt and try to like pay for all the things in your life. You can't do it. It's called pyramiding. So you have to keep on borrowing. That's how you end up owing $1 million if you make $100,000. It's because you have to keep borrowing more to maintain the debt that you have and then simultaneously live your life. Okay. So that's the ratio the United States at. And so the interest keeps going up. And so you have to pyramid. It keeps getting bigger. It gets exponentially bigger. The debt gets exponentially bigger as the longer that it goes. Okay. So you need to take a fucking chainsaw to what we have going on right now. Like bottom line, for us to avoid bankruptcy, and that's not even getting into Social Security benefits and all this stuff that pyramids in the opposite direction of what we're going to owe for them in the very near future. I mean, like we're in a catastrophic financial situation and these people are acting like, oh, well, why are we doing blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, because you're in the camp of just continue to borrow forever. Like just borrow more, borrow more, borrow more. 32 trillion. Why not 200 trillion? Like just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. It's insanity. And especially when all this spending is going to nothing. Like it's going to stuff that not only is it stupid, but it's also like nefarious theft, right? Theft in many cases. Like you send $100 billion over to Ukraine. They have no idea where it is. Are you telling me some of our politicians may have gotten some of that? Maybe, money laundering. I mean, give me a fucking break. It's like if I went and looked at the finances of a person who made $100,000 a year and they owed $1 million, and I'm like, okay, let's go through your finances. Let's look at what are you spending every month on this, and it's like, wait, hang on. You're spending $2,000 a month on Moroccan dance lessons for your son. Well, yeah, he loves it. How is that gonna Moroccan dance lessons? What are you doing? Like what are you doing? You can't afford that. Okay? You can't afford that. You can afford to live right now. Okay? Like what's a necessity? It's like just bottom. And then in his case, he's like, well, what's really going on is I'm borrowing $20,000 a month right now in order to maintain the debt, but I'm also paying this person and they kick that money back to me. And you're like, but you're the one who owes the money. How is that helpful? Except in reality, it's like you have a third person who's borrowing the money in that person's name and they're stealing the money. Okay. That's what's actually going on here. Chainsaw is what you need.
Boom.
The way to do that is not to have Elon Musk go, target people who have attended DEI trainings, right?
My point.
Oh, you think that's what he's doing? That's what the DOGE thing is? Target people who went to DEI trainings. Okay.
I'll be perfectly frank. I lean towards the Bernie and the Elizabeth Warren and, all those sites economically. I've been shocked.
Socialist, in other words.
By how undemocratic the Democratic Party can be.
Tell me, what do you mean by, I don't disagree with you necessarily, but what do you mean by that?
By putting their foot on the scales to get, make sure that Hillary Clinton comes out of the thing or make sure that, that they're listening to.
Oh, you mean when the DNC totally undercut Bernie Sanders? And when MSNBC, your channel, MSNBC, refused to even put him on the air. We know from MSNBC whistleblowers who wouldn't allow Bernie Sanders to be on the air because the DNC basically would, the MSNBC is an extension of the DNC. So you're putting Hillary Clinton up there on purpose, even though Bernie Sanders was doing incredibly well and likely could have won if they didn't put their hands on the scale. You mean that?
That anger about the way that even the ACA, quite frankly, struck me as a very conservative.
You mean because it didn't have a public option in it?
Correct. That it didn't address the very thing that was causing the foundational upset. If I were to break this down narratively, what I think the Democrats have forgotten is government may not be perfect, but it's the only thing large enough to offset multinational corporate exploitation and corruption.
Boom. Boom. Okay. At the end of the day, that is the core thing that everyone needs to understand. Anyone who's fighting against this DOGE thing, anyone who's fighting against this at all, like that is what you need to understand. If you don't use the government to fight against gigantic multi-billion-dollar or trillion-dollar organizations, leveraging the weight of their power to extract money in ways that are absolutely they're not only counterproductive to the United States and to individual citizens en masse, but like just straight, it's a criminal. It's criminal what they will do if you don't use it. And what's happened is over the last however many decades, they have not only not had their hands slapped, they've not only not had anyone, keep them under control. They've actually invaded the government and used what should be this gigantic thing that is supposed to protect us from them and made it into a weapon against us. Okay, that's what is going on now. And the people that can't see it, you're like, dude, what movie are you watching? Okay, you go watch the television. They tell you, oh, Ukraine is so important because of blah, blah. What the fuck do you know about Ukraine? You don't know shit about Ukraine. Nothing. Okay, you smart guy who supports them sending all that money. I'm not saying I'm some kind of expert, but what I'm saying is the media outlets that are telling you that this is a great thing for all of us to be doing and we need to send the money over there, that's run by the people who are extracting all of the money. Like they're the ones who are getting all of the money in one way or another, whether it's through military contracts or through just straight up theft. They're the ones who put the messaging out there so you think this is a really good idea. And that's just like one big example. All of these things that you have supported, okay, mandates, shut it all down, force people to take the shots. Every single one of those big issues benefited a small group of people financially, and they are the ones who put that messaging out there. Okay, and it's the government that is mandating these things. It's the government that is taking our taxes and sending it over to Ukraine. It's the government that takes our money and then, makes a decision to put it towards this shot that had no long-term testing, that has basically been proven to not only not be effective, but also potentially have horrendous side effects for college-age boys. And they still allowed them to mandate it in colleges. Okay, and you're sitting there like, these crazy people that don't support it. It's like, nah, dude, I just don't watch the channel that brainwashes me like you do. This is not even complicated, dude. So that's what it is. That's the main point of this entire thing, what he said right there. All right, let's continue.
And if we don't act like that's urgent and that affects people's lives, then so if the big policies that we make are billions more dollars to insurance companies that we think are fucking people over left and right for their healthcare. So isn't that part of why people lost faith?
Yeah. So yes, I think we're saying, well, I'm trying to say something similar, which is this.
Boom.
Which is Democrats just lost everything. They control nothing. They control, they don't control the House. They don't control the Senate. They don't control the White House, and they don't control the Supreme Court. So now is the time to break some shit, right? And break some China.
They do control the email lists that continue to ask for money.
Well, that's true.
They still have that.
It's like an overwhelming. And that is what, and I hear the public option. Look, I worked for Obama. He would have been for the public option. He didn't think it could get through, right? Was he wrong? Maybe he was wrong.
But that's the point. So it's the audacity of hope with the governance of the possible. And that's the point. Like Donald Trump.
It's exactly right. Why wouldn't they have been able to get it through? I'm not, public option, not whatever. Why would that have not gotten through? Oh, right. Because the government has been infiltrated and corrupted to its core. Okay. That's why. And so, we passed the Affordable Care Act. And then what's the outcome? Billions and billions and billions and billions of taxpayer dollars paid to pharmaceutical and medical organizations and health insurance companies. Okay. So, oh my God. Somehow, every single time something new happens, what ends up happening? More tax dollars sent to gigantic corporations. That's the whole point that he's making.
Trump is nothing if not audacious. He manifests this way.
Yeah, but what does he produce, though? He doesn't, even if he sees tariffs as a success, it's not going to be, but he even had to pull back from that. It's like, oh my God. Okay. Tariffs aren't going to be a success.
I get it that these people don't understand what's actually happening for whatever reason. They live in like outer space and don't understand what he's actually doing. Do you really think that Trump is doing the tariffs to try to boost the tax base? Like he's saying, oh, we're going to make so much money for the United States. You really think that's what he's doing? Okay. He's negotiating. He's negotiating. Obviously, that is exactly why he says we're going to do the tariffs on Canada. We're going to do the tariffs on Mexico. And then right at the last minute, oh, okay, hang on. We're going to put a 30-day pause on it. Because why? Because he's making a threat, knowing that it puts them in a position that they cannot have that happen. Their economy will collapse. He's putting a leverage position against them so that they can negotiate things like the border. That's exactly what he's doing. Okay, the tariffs are not about tariffs. The tariffs are about the border. In this case, when he's talking about Mexico and Canada, he wants them to secure the border. Okay, so he's like, oh, you're not going to secure the border? All right, cool. I'll just tax the imports. And then how are you guys going to do then? What's going to happen then? You know, we'll just slap these tariffs on you guys. Are you guys going to be all right? He's negotiating because he wants to get the borders closed and he knows we can't do it without their help. That's why he's doing tariffs. Okay, what does he produce? The tariffs. That's why he's doing it. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue this.
The outcomes of his success, of his grand proclamations.
Well, he accomplished them. He got the tax cuts that he wanted. He basically got the cabinet members that he wanted. I mean, he's, as you said,
he controls the Republican Party. So that is like got what he wanted.
Right.
How about the fact that when he was in office, he got the cost per crate import down to I believe it was like $2,300 on those, on those crates that you import on those gigantic ships. And somehow the second he was out of office, they went up to 40,000. Remember corruption? Like these are things that benefit American companies. Okay. Americans are paying. That's what Americans are paying. He is using the strength of the American military, the strength of the American economy on a global stage in order to get better deals for things that affect American companies. And he's doing it in a way that also prioritizes the American taxpayer and the tax base. That's what he's doing. And he's accomplishing these things in a much more efficient way than any administration I've ever watched. Okay, now I'm certainly paying closer attention now, but the idea that he's not doing anything is ridiculous. It's so stupid.
So we got some.
So your answer, I mean, yeah, he just answered it for you. He got the tax cuts down to 21%, and now he wants to push it down to 15% and create a tax haven in the United States. I mean, these are the things that Trump has manifested and pushed forward because the American people demanded it. And so you don't have so the American people would have wanted a public option, but because Obama ceded control to the insurance companies and Big Pharma, that's why we have Obamacare the way that we do.
Now, I'm not going to blame Obama for that. I'm going to say that because he's right, or she's right. He wouldn't have been able to get that passed, which is the entire point. Okay. That's the whole point. I'm not going like Obama terrible, Trump good. What I'm saying is the whole system has been corrupted top to bottom by the corporations to the point where you wouldn't be able to pass a thing like that because everyone is compromised. And so when you go to all of these government agencies that are just vomiting money all over the place, and especially USAID, that was being a treasure chest that's being used to sabotage Donald Trump personally and propagandize the American people. Yeah, shut it down, dude. Shut it down. Okay. And I've been hearing all about these, like, the nuclear, they can't find the nuclear scientists that are, in charge of, protecting the nuclear stockpile or whatever. It's like, all right, that sounds terrifying. However, okay, there's not going to be a nuclear incident because of this. Okay. They're using a chainsaw and then they're going to figure out, oh, we cut too much, and they're going to bring him back. That is what needs to happen now. Okay. Anyway, I've been talking for a very long time. We're going to cut this video off right now, but there's more to come today. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. I love you guys. Bye-bye.